This week, Xur has come to us with a revelation that might make it even more worthwhile checking him weekly, which is what I might actually start doing now that he has such interesting stock. But from that point, a revelation in that he now sells Artifice armor, which if you have not been keeping up with Destiny, Artifice armor is unique in that it has an extra slot that you can assign 3 points of stats to any specific thing, any of your choice. So if you wanted to and had no exotic, well, actually now that you can Artifice armor exotics, you can have a literal free 15 stats that can go anywhere. It is usually not possible to get triple 300s without Artifice armor. But I digress. The only available source is actually Master Dungeons, which for some people is actually an incredibly hard thing to do. Not to mention you have to get the drop and you actually have to get the stats you want. So from that point, Artifice armor is oftentimes available, but rare to get what you want. So now that he can sell this, while it might be the most expensive individual item, it could very well be worth it for those trying to get the exact piece of armor they are looking for, which I imagine is also class relevant, so keep that in mind. Regardless, he does have a few options, and I will cover the exotic bits for those that need to check. But the two catalysts he has is both the Legend of Acrius catalyst, which gives you Trench Barrel for the Legend of Acrius, which is a very powerful buff, and aside from the scenarios that obviously it doesn't work, this is a monster in any close range damage scenarios. And we also have for the Crucible crowd the MIDA Multi-Tool catalyst, which while it does drop from Crucible, if you played it enough, this has probably already dropped for you, so it is not a rare source. I would recommend leaving this one if you had to get it. The armor available is the Shards of Galanor, which it is a higher spike broad thing, so it is not so terrible. For the prismatic setup, the only part of it useful is the throwing knife bit, but if you're going for a Solar Blade Barrage knock 'em down setup, Galanor is very much an option to go with. From there, Armentarian, I can't exactly vouch for this thing just because the prismatic version of Armentarian is essentially 1-to-1 the exact same thing. It has very good recovery and discipline and not so great resilience for the Titans, which is a very good idea for Crucible, but this isn't something I would exactly vouch for. And then we also have Karnsteins for the same reason. Crucible-wise, high mobility is something people want, and intellect for more supers. However, it is a melee-based thing. It does give you health on melee, but at the same time, it is not exactly PvE granted. Then into the main strange offers, his Hawk Moon available is a quick draw Hawk Moon that does have small bore, alloy, and smooth grip in case you are interested in picking up that variety. From there, we have the Crimson in the kinetic slot, basically the Red Death but kinetic. 3-round burst hand cannon that heals on kill and refills the magazine on precision kill. Not exactly a PvE option, more of a PvP option in general because it's still ranged there, and I still hate the sound of this thing after year 1 Crucible. I mean, in the energy slot we have Merciless, which is a fusion rifle that speeds up charge time after you hit something and don't kill it, so it is very good for sustained damage on heavy health targets. It also has access to something like Kill Clip, so if you shoot something small, kill it, reload, get the buff, and dump into a target, you will oftentimes get a very good damage buff, and I believe this is pre-nerf Kill Clip, so it's like a 30% damage buff. And then we have the newly buffed Queenbreaker, which does have additional ammo, and is a unique spot because it is quite literally just a linear fusion rifle, but it does have 2 scope options. It also has hipfire or quick draw options, as well as arc bolt blinding in case you wanted to shut down the field a little bit with a more unique rifle. From that point, that is pretty much everything exotic. I would cover the broad stock, but it is now a lot easier to get anything that you want with the basic engrams. Literally, if you do not know, these engrams will give you anything available in the slot. The weapons would give you anything that can show up here, and the armor would also give you stats from anything that could show up in the armor slots. But from there, that is the end of this update, and I do hope you take this to or you at least keep track of this, because again, if you can sell Artifice armor every now and again, it is worth checking them out, not to mention the 2 random catalysts. I believe the Acrius catalyst doesn't have a current source nowadays, so this would be very much worth getting it if you do not have it. But with that, I will see you in the next video.